Happy Halloween there, Fright Fiends, and welcome to this video for Splatterhouse 2. This is perhaps my favorite Splatterhouse, as it's the most Splatterhouseiest of all the Splatterhouses, and to say the least, I find it to be a squishy good time. So let's jump on in and enjoy all the violence and mayhem. Splatterhouse 2 begins with a short introduction. A few words setting up that Jennifer died and that Rick has had some restless nights ever since. We see Jennifer fall into a hole made of human flesh, and then the mask begins to speak. We get this great little spooky opening that really sets the stage, showing us the forest and mansion, all while text pops up on the screen of the mask tempting us to give in and go back to the mansion. This little video plus the great 16-bit music sets the tone for the whole game. Rick returns to the mansion to save Jennifer, and this time things get messy. Gameplay is essentially the same. In the first game, you go through levels fighting enemies with a simple punch, kick, and jump, with the use of several different weapons. It's platforming meets simple beat-em-up stuff. In Splatterhouse 2, all attacks and enemies are pretty much the same every time. Once you know the pattern of how the boss in Stage 2 throws skulls at you, then he'll throw them at you the same way every time. It's all just a matter of knowing when to jump and punch to get past each challenge, just like in real life. The main difference between Splatterhouse 2 and the original lies in the fact that it now has a password system, and the horror aesthetic and gore got ramped up to 10. Rick gets several new weapons this go around to help him on his path of bloodshed to save Jennifer. This time he gets a pipe, chainsaw, and gardening shears, in addition to the returning favorite, the shotgun. I favor the pipe over the others. When Rick uses it, enemies get launched into the background and splatter on the walls. The levels, enemies, and bosses get top billing here. Truly, the designs of the enemies and bosses remain some of the grossest and most disgusting designs in all gaming to this day, bar none. Every enemy looks like it feels wet and squishy and likely smells bad. Each one also explodes into spurts of slime or gore. The game provides little by way of story as you progress, often only giving you snippets of text on level title cards between stages. However, in the first level, you do get to enjoy a funny little in-game cutscene of an enemy running from Rick. Rick frightens the creature so much that it would rather run towards a giant monster that eats it rather than him. Good stuff. The bosses in the game have gotten way more attention this go around, and I have to say, they are inspirational in their design and grotesqueness. I'm a filmmaker of mainly horror films, and I can say that one day I will make a film with stuff like this in it. The most noteworthy of all these boss fights happens to be the dead fetus boss fight. You're in this tool shed fighting hanged dead fetuses that drop from the ceiling, killing them with a chainsaw. They all explode and a giant thing bursts through the wall and explodes, covering the screen in blood. It's just too good. Really. Wake the kids. Dr. Henry West holds the #1 place in my heart as my favorite boss fight in all of Splatterhouse-dom. In his level, you chase him through this lab as he lobs flasks at you. Once you catch up to him, you punch him once, he falls over, and his head splatters on the ground. It's awesome. The levels here really steal the show. The developers clearly thought them out to a great extent. Each one is gorier and nastier than the last, but all are different and interesting. The river level provides some good platforming as you jump around puddles filled with piranhas. When getting through the mansion, you encounter wall-mounted deer heads that vomit on you, as well as a lab with giant test tubes that have monsters jump out and attack you. A few elevator levels have you fighting baddies and dodging falling debris that test your ability to dodge. The game includes 2 lake levels. The first time you're on it, you're running along a dock trying to escape a giant one-eyed octopus and knocking monsters out of the way as you go. It's hard and takes some really good timing to get through, but once you complete it, it is oh so satisfying to know that you've done it and that you can just go back and do it again because you've developed that skill for escaping that monster. The second time you're on the lake, you're escaping the mansion with Jennifer in a boat, yet again being chased by the giant octopus. Rick has to chuck the octopus's own spikes back at it and into its one big eye. When done right, you feel like a boss, totally in the zone, ducking and chucking at the same time, and yes, Rick does rescue Jennifer this time. She's back and she has some very, very big, feet. To rescue Jennifer, Rick enters Dr. West's basement, I assume, and fights floating heads and then descends down into a supernatural hellscape of psychedelic trippiness. Eventually you rescue Jennifer and escape to the forest, where you enter the final battle, beating the hell out of a fleshy amalgamation of disembodied heads. Splatterhouse 2, in my opinion, is the best game in the series. It's simple gameplay and platforming combined into what is a satisfying gaming experience. For those of you who love those old, gory, special effects heavy horror films from the 80s, you will love this game. I love this game. It's a bloody good time. And that there is Splatterhouse. It's perhaps the best of all the Splatterhouse games, as it's longer than the first one, and it's just more well crafted than the others in the series. I mean, I can assure you that what's coming up next in the next two videos, not nearly as good. But I'm gonna review them anyway for you, because I love you. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. Or if you don't feel like subscribing and you want to see some more videos, check out this video, which is on the PS2 game Obscure, or check out this video, which is on, I don't know, Aliens vs. Predator for the Super Nintendo. Why not?